Hey y'all, welcome back to Underdeveloped. And today we are doing something that we haven't done yet. And we kept, at least me, kept preaching that we was going to eventually do. And we finally got to it. This is our review for Sandman, released the first trade, which is Preludes and Nocturnes, which covers the first 8 issues.
Yeah,
the first
that's
trade.
The book.
Yeah,
yes. This is the 30th anniversary edition. Yes. Just to clarify.
I lost that. And by the way, just a disclaimer, I've lost that book like 2 times. So Sandman, Preludes and Nocturnes is a collection of the first 8 issues of the Sandman comic written by best-selling author Neil Gaiman. We all know Neil Gaiman, but this was actually his first big break, actually. Neil Gaiman, he started his second break working on Good Omens with other best-selling author Terry Pratchett, and that, exploded. You know what I mean? And since then, he mainly known as like a novelist. He's more writing novels. Like he wrote Neverwhere, Stardust, American Gods, which is also a series on Stars, which is doing pretty good, but I don't know if they got canceled yet.
I think they did.
So Gaiman also did a lot of television work. He wrote episodes of Babylon 5, Doctor Who, which Nick's likes very much. Of course, he wrote episodes of American Gods, and of course, Good Omens. And he also, which I really didn't know, he also wrote movies like Beowulf, an English adaptation of Princess Mononoke. Ours made by Sam Keith, Mike Dringenberg, Malcolm Jones III, Robbie Bush, and Todd Klein, and all of which are well known for making the Sandman comic series.
They're mostly known for this.
Yeah, they're not really known outside of
they get work, but this is what they're known for.
So Sandman was published by the DC Comics imprint and Vertigo. And if you know Vertigo has stuff like Hellblazer and
V for Vendetta.
V Vendetta, and other stuff like that is pretty good.
Yeah.
And since then, and this Sandman book has been recognized as the greatest and the most influential comic series of all time, leaving a legacy that rivals that of other things like Watchmen or The Dark Knight Returns, which are both fantastic graphic novels.
Sandman is the story of the Lord of Dreams being captured by cultists, imprisoned for over 70 years, and this ends up having an even worse effect on people's sleep schedules than college does. Damn, that's horrifying. Not knowing what to do with the Sandman, the cultists end up selling all the various things that the Sandman had on him, and this includes a bag of sand, a crown, and a ruby, all of which have magic powers, and we'll get into later. When the Sandman finally breaks free, he gets revenge on the descendant of the person who imprisoned him, because the person who actually did it, he died. It's been 70 years, it happened. After that, he decides to go on this quest to get all of his shit back. That's pretty much the whole the story. That's what they spend at least the first 7 issues doing. It's pretty interesting. Like that whole opening sequence where Dream gets imprisoned, it's just really compelling. Especially as we get to witness the rise and the fall of this powerful family. Like the first issue alone, it's just really interesting, and just how it explores its themes of fleeting mortality. The whole thing is made even better by the end when you get to see Dream's regrets. Like he feels kind of shitty by the fact that he didn't get revenge on the guy who actually did the deed to him. It's kind of fucked.
Yeah, so I like to get into the setup. I thought the setup was pretty effective. That's the beginning. So basically, it begins with Dream. He's in prison for 70 years, and Ethel Cripps, Burgess's his mistress, and Burgess's aide Ruthven Sykes, they grew up together, and they took all of Morpheus' shit, his ruby pouch and helmet. And they sold the helmet to a demon, and the pouch ended up with, later on, with a girl that Constantine slapped up. And Ethel Cripps kept the ruby for herself and passed it on to her little nut, John D, a.k.a. Dr. Destiny. When Morpheus finally escapes a chain of, exciting obstacles for Dreamlord to get his shit back, So through this journey, we see him entangled with, a bunch of DC figures, such as I said, Constantine, Lucifer Morningstar, and even some JLA members, Justice League of America. So it really integrated the DC world, So it's part of the DC, franchise. And it gets to some of my favorite scenes. His journey to get his shit back pretty much leads him into hell. It leads into hell where he meets Lucifer, and it's really really cool. Lucifer basically, he doesn't run hell by himself. He has a triumvirate, which is Beelzebub and Azazel. So 2 high-ranking demons, they both run hell together as the 3. Hell is like a whole melting pot of different beings, doing a bunch of nefarious things. It's like a city. It's like a community, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had to get his helmet back from a demon, so he kind of played this kind of weird Yu-Gi-Oh kind of game where he kind of summon creatures from their heart or some shit, whatever. They kind of wish these creatures into existence, and they explain its attributes, and they have to beat each other, And it gets very cerebral. You'll think it's very physical, but this is not a very physical story. This is all cerebral, psychological. Even his way from getting out of hell, because Lucifer and him Lucifer and him, I really loved like how they had like subtle exchanges, subtle threats thrown at each other. You know what I mean? And all Dream had to say was that, oh, how valuable basically is hell if nobody can dream of heaven? You know what I mean? And I was like effective. You know what I mean? And, you know, like it's just talking, it's cerebral, and I love that. That's what Sandman is. Sandman is all about the mind. You know, it's relying on the strength of its writing and the psychology to get you from like one piece of the story to another.
Oh, absolutely, it
So,
is.
and I think that's refreshing. You know, so that's really good.
Yeah.
That's why I can't wait to see it in live action, played out as a show or movie, because you know that's we kind of really need that nowadays.
Yeah,
Um,
I completely agree. Like, I'm looking forward to that show too. Like, they seem to have a good cast, and Game himself is attached to it, so hopefully that leads something good. I think Doctor D is arguably the best villain that was introduced in this story. Like, mostly because of how he functions in the story itself. Because, like,
yeah,
what he does is he serves as like this foil for it's this foil for Dream. He actually like does a good job of like just creating just how strong Dream actually is, the kind of power that Dream's like wielding on a daily basis. Because we get to see firsthand what happens when Dream's power goes into wrong hands. And he does a lot of fucked up shit. Like, fucks up a whole diner. He murders a whole bunch of people there and gets them to murder each other.
yeah,
Like,
fucking with your dreams and shit.
yeah,
Torturing
he
them.
fucks with people's dreams. Yeah, absolutely. And he can just drive people crazy and do all sorts of shit. Yeah.
I think it's kind of cheap, like kind of like how he like just he fails so easy. Or he does smash the room. He thinking that he was releasing God power. And he was like committing an act of like sacrifice, whatever. And all he ended up doing was making Sandman powerful again because it just released the power that he's been putting into the ruby.
Mm-hmm.
It is weird. I mean, like, why'd you put a lot of your power within like certain artifacts? You know, they know I would steal them shits. You know what I mean? Like, you leave your realm to like extreme exposure. You know what I mean? When you like you should keep the power for it within you. You know what I mean? What's the point of like putting power in things?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, if if the ruby is powered by himself, then why do you even bother making the ruby in the first place?
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good question. It's one of the little things that here and there just kind of doesn't make sense. Like, aside from that, the only like real negative thing I have to say about it, I'm really not a big fan of how this is integrated into the DC world. Most of the cameos all these superhero characters make just feel like they're come out of nowhere. A lot of them feel very out of place, especially with how they're drawn. Because a lot of, like, for example, Martian Manhunter and most of those other characters, they're drawn as how most comics from the time period are drawn, which makes sense. But the thing is, Sandman kind of has a very different like art style. Like, everyone's body proportions are pretty different. So when you see like these classic superhero characters interact with like a character from a Sandman comic, it looks kind of jarring. Like, it looks like, whoa, are you sure Dream's supposed to be the weird looking one? Because you're the one that looks like you're standing out.
Well, I love Constantine in that movie. I mean, in that
yeah.
I wish I saw more.
Yeah,
and
Constantine Constantine was the only like appearance from another character that I liked. All the other ones I was really
he fits in that world. He fits in the world of the occult and magic and you know.
And that's another reason why he didn't feel like out of place here.
Yeah.
Because like he does this shit all the time regularly, so it's cool. I get it.
And also like Constantine's scene led into like a really like dramatic but really sad moment where basically he comes his lover who basically OD'd on that dream sack.
Mm-hmm.
And he made him so strung out, deteriorated. It was so sad. I almost cried.
Yeah, like she was an addict. It was fucking tragic, man.
Tragic.
It's fucking horrible.
Yeah. And it's like and I guess Dream put it to sleep or some shit, but that was just a sad moment. And I love that. You know, I read something that's like it generates that kind of level of emotion. You know what I mean? Because it's the storytelling just that deep. You know what I mean?
No,
and
I completely
get tackle things that we face as people. You know?
Yeah. Well, in a couple of issues, like another issue, we see him tackling a literal demon. This is one where we see him tackling like a person's inner demons. Exactly.
That's a good way to put it. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it just shows you the kind of influence that stuff can have in the world. Like, it's absolutely just crazy.
And I love the effects. Like when he got captured, like, and this is good. And it is attributes to Nick Gaiman's like good writing. Like, he was smart to think about like, okay, the ramifications of the Dream Lord being locked up and can't use his tools or being his dream world. that people literally stayed in like a form of like never ending, like eternal waking, like they just can't wake up.
And there were some that were just permanently asleep. There was like one guy, I think it was like you couldn't
Yeah,
wake up. He was like I think he was like dreaming since he was like a baby or something. Like he dreamed for like his whole life, something like that.
Yeah, like he literally can't wake up. Like he's just locked in his dreams, and so it happened, and that affected a lot of people. And you know, like I just thought that was just really, really smart, and it was a good addition, a good bonus, like to add. It really fleshed out the world.
It is, but like the more I'm thinking about it, I kind of have a question about it. Like why would it only affect certain people but not others?
Like, but that's the thing. It may affect some. You know what I mean? Like it just that's how it is. It affects some. It don't affect everybody.
That's clearly how it works, but I'm like, why though?
I guess
I'm not sure. I don't know. If it was explained in the text, then I missed it. It just seems kind of.
I mean, it
seems kind of weird because if dream affects the dreams of everybody, then shouldn't everybody be affected by this?
I guess, but I mean, like it only clarifies like, yo, don't even
like if dream isn't around. If dream isn't around to give people dreams, then do people dream about anything?
Like the thing is, so I look at it as this. It's like a moving machine. You know what I mean? Like, certain, you know, it's a moving machine. It doesn't have to be all operated by him, but however, his absence may cause a couple of minor like incidents. You know what I'm saying? So like the process will still be going. However, it wouldn't be 100% right because some people will feel the effects of him not being there. That's how I kind of look at it. Because it's almost impossible to be in charge of 7 billion people's dreams. You know what I mean? Like he must have his world doing a lot of work. But as the world gets weaker, certain people get affected by it. Maybe certain people with certain personality types. But we know their personality types. Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe people who are really lackadaisical like to dream a lot. I don't know. You know what I mean? But they don't really explain that. But I didn't mind it. You know, it didn't take anything away from the story. So the ending,
it was fun meeting Death. She's cool.
Yeah, she's cool. And I guess this seems kind of like a trope because I saw this very similar thing in Supernatural where Dean gets like because he pretty much plays Death for a day. But in this is kind of similar in the way where she's first her dream is like he's pretty much lackluster because the ending was kind of lackluster in the way he defeated Dr. Destiny. His feeling at the end was lackluster. Like he felt like he got stuff back, but he's not happy. So she kind of shows him like, okay, you think you're unhappy? I mean, look at all this shit. Yeah. So she kind of walks around as reaping people, you know what I mean? And it's sad, you know what I mean? And it kind of shakes him out of his funk, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, in some bits get really sad.
Yeah, it gets really
like the bit with the little baby. That was sad.
The baby got it, and also who else got it?
There was like, I think the first one was an old man.
Yeah, and one of the first people that we meet in the park, where they meet with.
Oh yeah, he was just a dude playing ball.
And then you don't think nothing's gonna happen to this guy. It's just a guy passed around.
Yeah, and then Death says, "I'll be seeing you soon."
Yeah, and then no, and she did. At the end of at the end of her dreams, like, at the end of her and Morpheus's like back and forth, she went right back to that same spot, and then they got hit by a car, some shit, man. That was it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's some heavy shit. That's what I like about it. I like that. I always like stuff that's willing to talk about heavy shit.
Yeah, 100%. It's tragic.
Like overall, this is just a really solid book. Like it's a solid first volume. I imagine it'll only get better from here. Like I can't.
Yeah, me too.
Like this is already a really good start. So.
And for what I read
in pipe breaks.
What I read in this one, it is so.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, to Sandman, man. So my score for this would probably be a 3.6. Solid.
Yeah, I'm thinking somewhere around that, like 3. I think maybe like 3.5. I think 3.5 is the perfect number for me. Like this is like because this is good, but there's room for improvement. I imagine we're going to get to that. So I think that's just the perfect number for me.
You definitely had more to go. Certain little things that I thought could have been done a little better or explained. Overall, it didn't really take from the story. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, overall, it's still very entertaining. Yeah. Very good story.
It's graphic novels. I mean, you should give us a read. This is pretty good.
Yeah, like, I don't read a ton of comics anymore, but I found myself really enjoying this. So, so if you're averse to comics in any way, then don't let that stop you. This is just a really good story. Just go give it a shot. You won't regret it.
You'll be safe in here, sweetheart. Get lost, Pavarotti. No!